afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you're watching in the world. I'm your boy Nick, aka Stop Kermit. We all know it's Chiefs Niners week, so I had to choose a different name from Jimmy G Smile because, well, we're going to get into it. I don't think I'm going to be smiling much, but we'll get into that. Hope everyone is good where you are. Tony from the locker room rant. Hello. Yeah, Nottingham Forest, Liverpool. I'm just watching it on the TV over my shoulder, and yeah, Van Dijk chances. Even I could have scored those, but that's another story. Welcome along, Tony. Good to have you in. Carl, how are we? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, mate. Yep, all good, all good. Another good week on the sporting front. Yeah, my soccer team seems to be doing incredibly well, and I'm guessing for the second week running, when New England Patriots just shut you and Scott up for the second week running. So we're back to 500. We're looking good. I don't know if we got a quarterback controversy in our hands, but we'll see what happens after the Bears game.
Could be. And from your good sporting week, Brighton, Man City, 3:00.
What's up, Tony? Good to see you, bud. Well on
And
your victory last week.
Niners, Chiefs tomorrow night. My God, I don't think I could have picked a worse week for my two sporting teams. Yeah, it's not. I don't know. It's not looking good on either front. I reckon Man City are probably going to at least 3 past Brighton, and we'll get into the picks. But there may be a reverse psychology pick going on from me. Not quite sure yet, because I don't know if I can obviously go against my team, but we'll see. We'll see. Now, it was a bit of a weird couple of days in the NFL with, or at least a week with 49ers Twitter, with obviously the trade that went down for Run CMC. That was my original name, but I had to change it to. But trust me, Tony, by the time it arrived over in the UK,
the season probably would have been over by then.
It will be over and done with, and you'll have, what's his name, back in. Mac and Cheese will be back in. Yeah, everyone was saying that the Niners front office isn't aggressive, this, that, the other, and they should be sacked, and because they never get aggressive, they never go after anyone. And then, lo and behold, Run CMC signs, and I'm a bit dubious about it because we are the team that collects the most injuries in the history of sport, and we've just not given a lot away, I wouldn't think, but enough to get one of the most injured running backs in the NFL. Now, are we going to be the kryptonite that keeps this guy on the field and actually can make a difference like Emmanuel Sanders did when we traded for him mid-season a few years ago and obviously went to the Super Bowl with him? I don't know. As a player, amazing. Can he stay on the field? That's the biggest question with him. But I don't think they really gave a lot away to get him. As we know, and we've all said on this show, the draft, obviously, depending on how good or how bad you are, is always a crapshoot. Top players you think are going to be really, really good. Trevor Lawrence, prime example, turn out to be awful. So, I don't know, Carl, what did you think? I know it wasn't a throw the football at the sofa moment like it was when the Niners moved up to 3.
No, it wasn't anywhere near that.
But what's your thoughts on it?
But my take from this, okay, is I'm gonna look at the good. Let's look at the good side a bit, okay. So Run CMC is, I always class Run CMC as the most electrifying running back in the NFL. He's just a go-to gadget guy. He can do it. He can do absolutely everything into the running back position. He can run, he can pass catch out of the backfield. He makes very, very good blocks as well. He's an all down, 3 down back. He just is, and he's one of the best in his class when he is fit and healthy and he's on the field. A lot of people said his injury history is a little bit dubious, to say the least. But over the last 2 years, he has missed 23 of the last 33 games due to injury. That's a lot of time to miss. But as we have always said, when he is fit and healthy and on the field, he is a very hard player to stop. And the 49ers are a team that have got a lot of players at the receiver position that are very explosive. Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, Jawan Jennings. You know, you've got a lot of good dogs out there that can stretch the field and make explosive plays. Run CMC is going to end up being Jimmy Garoppolo's safety valve. The dink and dunk is through. They can catch out of the backfield. And the one thing the 49ers is very good at is their blocking. Their blocking is second to none. That is going to help run CMC in that. So I look at that and I think that's the good side. The downside of it is the draft picks. Now, you say you don't think you've given up enough capital for Run CMC.
No, I said I don't think what we've given up is that bad. Considering now, putting this into context for a second, Laney, hope you're well. Welcome along. For that, just got to read this comment again from Tony. I was with John V when the CMC news was announced, and I watched him literally have an orgasm. Yeah, that sounds like John, definitely. JV, if you're watching, always a place on this panel. I know you're working hard now, but if you ever get time free, I always send you the link.
And remember, season your soups.
What was that soup? Wedding soup.
Wedding soup, I think.
Wedding
it's called,
soup.
or something along those lines.
That shit. Actually, Carl, talking of cooking and wedding soups, maybe it's about time you dropped in your special little Russy thing before we move in.
What Russy? Oh, this little thing. Okay. Well,
Or did you want to save it till the end? It's entirely up to you.
No, I'll say save it to the end. I just think 49ers. Sorry, I just think Denver Broncos fans are probably just saying this to Russell Wilson right now.
You're standing there, you're screwing me, and you're fucking useless.
Welcome to the real world, Russy, my old boy. Welcome to the real world. Let that motherfucker cook, and he's burning shit everywhere. And I, as you know, being his biggest supporter, and I have been for years, all I can say to you, Russy, is let's ride, you cornball. So, yes, back to thingy. So, putting it into context, look at what we gave up for Lance. And people...
3 first-round picks.
Lost their fucking minds. Now, what we've given up isn't that much compared to that. Yes, it's 4 picks, but if CMC's as good as what I hope he's going to be, those picks are going to be so far down the board, it's going to be tomato cans that they're picking up. So we haven't lost. It's not like we've given up, and with the greatest respect, those 3 first rounders we gave up to move up. If the season pans out, which, 49ers haven't had what you would call a losing season as such in the regular season. Those picks are never really high. They're not going to be. They're not going to be the number 1 overall the next 3 years. It's not going to happen. So, and again, even the overall first round pick sometimes turns out to be pretty garbage. So it's not. That's the thing I don't get with people that lose their shit over the amount of picks you give up, because you don't know where your team at that time is going to pick. Now, yes, if the 49ers go in the tank for the next couple of seasons and we do a Jaguars or a Lions and end up with the first overall pick, then yeah, I'd be pretty fucking pissed at that. But, again, depends what the teams are looking for. There could be a load of tomato cans in there, Cole. So it's not as if you're giving up a guaranteed first pick in the second round, first pick in the first. Do you see what I mean? It's not as if it's a done deal until the end of the season.
No, I understand what you mean. I think what Shanahan has done with this, he's basically brought Run CMC not just to try and win the Super Bowl now, but obviously to get him ready for when Trey Lance returns next season. And I think that's where their mindset is put into place. I think your window right now, because you've given up 3 first-round picks, you've given up your second, third, and fourth for next year's draft. You've given up 2024 fifth-round pick. So you're not going to have a lot of capital to work with. But Shanahan is thinking it. But I just wonder if Shanahan is looking at it is doing a Sean McVay, doing it on the Rams side of things, like getting 1 or 2 decent players in, throwing all your picks away to that team that desperately needs them, and you don't, and running for the Super Bowl. That's what it kind of. That's what it kind of
honest, Carl,
to me.
CMC to me. This is going to be interesting. I'm walking down the stairs with my laptop, and I'll probably, if it all goes up in the air, and all of a sudden you hear,
it's getting clipped. It's getting clipped.
I've just been attacked or something by the dog and tackled me on the stairs. But I don't think, honestly, that CMC is going to be that piece, because I still think we're short on defense with injuries, right? So you get that player, yeah, brilliant. Pleased that we got CMC, right? I am pleased. But he could get injured. Other running backs are injured. Jimmy G, as bad as he is, could get injured. And it all implodes. I never thought the 49ers window was this year, even with Trey Lance and everyone healthy, because it's unheard of a second round, although call him a rookie because he didn't really play last year, QB will take you to the Super Bowl and win it. So it's Trey Lance is still a project because he hasn't played, and this will be 3 years he's played 3 games, 4 games at the most. Totally.
3. If you want my full time, I think it's 3 3/4 games he's played.
Right. Let's just bring. Hang on, Paul's just pitched in, so let's just bring Paul into the combo. There you go, Paul. How you doing?
Hi guys. All right.
Good to have you on, mate. You've been very, very busy these last couple of weeks. Well done as well to the meet up for the 49ers faithful. Big turnout. So I hope that was it looked an amazing time anyway. Obviously, you saw my good friend Chrissy in there as well, so I hope you gave her a hug from me. Hope you had a good time, mate. And obviously, well done as well on Let's Talk Sports, because it looks like that's going really, really well as of late.
Yeah, so you've noticed it's been a little bit busy in 49er land. I have literally just caught, as I was driving home there, the start, and I was like, stop talking about CMC, save some for me.
Don't worry. I've almost finished my soliloquy on it. But what's your take on it, Paul? Because obviously you being the Niners fan, Run CMC, a real big cog in the machine, you could probably say, for Run CMC to go into the 49ers offense. What does this now mean for San Francisco for this season now? Does it put you more on the relevance of, putting McCaffrey in now is Super Bowl bust, or are you still thinking this is still the project to go forward when Trey Lance returns next season?
That is a great question. I'll answer it a slightly different way, Carl. So Thursday, I had the pleasure of doing the Tales from the Bay with Larry Kruger, and I knew that was going live on Friday morning. So I had allowed myself a little bit of a lie in because, like you said, it's been a busy week. And I switched my phone on at 8:15 on Friday, and I thought, bloody hell, what's happened here? My phone just went crazy. And then I was like, am I reading this right? We've traded for CMC. Now, most 49er fans, Carl, the first thought was, we've traded for one of the best players in the NFL. We've traded for that running back that we needed, that Kyle Shanahan has been crying out for. Obviously, when the dust settles, you look at what we've given up. To be honest, I like the move. I think it's aggressive. We haven't given up any first-round picks purely because we've got none to give up. I'll say that out loud.
That's because you gave it all to Trey Lance. Gave it up to Miami to trade up to Trey Lance. But
I'm not looking ahead to next season with Trey Lance. I'm looking at this season now. Ironically, you and Nick will probably laugh. We recorded the 49er Faithful UK pod on Thursday at about 8 o'clock. Finished at 9. Ready to post on Friday morning. And then obviously Friday morning came and everything we just talked about 12 hours earlier was out of date because we now had CMC. I don't think we'll see a great deal of him on Sunday. I have loved seeing him in the Niners uniform. I've loved seeing the posts he's put out there. I'm excited, Carl, to answer your question.
Well, he played at Stanford, didn't he? He played at Stanford in college, so it's not like he doesn't know the It doesn't know
system.
West Coast offense. So it's not like he doesn't know it. Doesn't know the Bay Area, is he?
The best thing for me is the fact that most other fan bases seem really annoyed by it. And I'm not saying you. I'm saying people that talk to me like I've got a mate who's a Packers fan, and he texted me and said the same as you: Super Bowl and bust. And I was like, it's not Super Bowl or bust for me.
He has got no right. He's got Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon. They've got two pretty decent running backs. You don't need, they don't need it. But
the best thing about all this, right, for me, was the fucking Ramley losing their shit.
Yeah, because they were in the end.
The Niners got in ahead of McVay.
Yeah,
I love it.
Well, they were right. I can't remember what the Rams actually wanted to give up for, but they were right on the end of the deal, and the 49ers just got that little bit more of a sweeter nut to it, and McCaffrey ended up going to you and not the Rams.
Unfortunately, you see, and I had this from an insider. Unfortunately, the Ramley could only give up a new kitchen range because they got fuck all else to do there. And that was all they had. They had a kitchen range, and then they upped it to a couple of seats in SoFi, which they hope that whoever they would have given them to will come and actually support the Rams because they don't have any support. But
I mean,
unfortunately, Ramley and one of the guys I follow, Jake, someone who's a Rams columnist, etc., was losing his shit, absolutely losing it, and then started professing that, the Niners think they've,
well, you know what the Rams wanted,
this, that, and the other. And I'm like, listen, mate, you always do this shit. Let another team nip in and take the piss for once. And it just happened to be the 49ers. So even if it was for some tomato can to beat the Rams, who are running it back, don't know where the fuck they're running it to with Pad Stadford, but that's another story. It was nice. And like you, Paul, when admittedly I got up a lot earlier, I was up at 5 a.m. and I always check the NFL thing in case something's happened. And I'm like, what? And that was a lead story on there. I'm like, we've traded to see it? No. And it was real deja vu for a couple of minutes. It was like, fucking hell, I can't believe that's happened. That was amazing. Especially as you know, Paul, since the news that he may become available, all of 49ers, they're not aggressive. They won't do it. They should be fired. They're fucking useless. John Lynch, fire him. Kyle Shanahan, fire him. And now, Friday morning, it's, I always had faith in the 49ers front office. I knew they'd pull it out. I knew that. And it's like, fucking give me a break.
Please.
That's why that is what it's like being a Niners fan. And my old friend being loose, Grant has gone from they're not aggressive enough and blah, blah, blah to, they've sold out everything to get this player who's injury prone and this, that. And it's like, just stop flip-flopping.
The thing is, though, is that the Rams' intentions were because obviously they're trying to trade running back Cam Akers. Their plan was to trade Cam Akers away once they got hold of Christian McCaffrey. That's now, because the 49ers have now scuppered their plans, they're now bollocksed. Unless they send Cam Akers for a bag of peanuts somewhere. I don't know. Go to Carolina or something. I don't know.
Well,
that's their problem now, not ours. So
the Niners couldn't get rid of Jimmy G for a bag of peanuts. So you got no chance of getting rid of Cam Akers. And I bet you he's on a lot more money than Jimmy G would have been on that contract.
I think he's still on his rookie deal. He's still on his rookie deal, I think, if I'm mistaken.
But he's gonna want some serious dough when that.
Yeah, but the fluctuation now for running backs is just. I mean, I think Christian McCaffrey is the number one paid running back in the NFL. I believe it's either that or Calvin Kamara. It's one of the two. I personally think right now that the 49ers are not more in a better position, but you've upgraded a certain position that was needed. The problem is, though, it's the injury history. And it's not, I'm not just going to throw CMC under the bus for this because, he's been injured. He's missed 23 of his last 33 games in the last 2 years. Okay. So it is documented. Okay. Kyle Shanahan has a habit of injuring players on both sides of the ball. Or his coach, or their fitness coaching, just isn't capable of hanging on to the base. So
let's not blame the coach on this one. He doesn't physically say to them, "I want you to run 30 miles when you only need to run 2," or no. "I want you to go and hurt yourself in the cause of winning this game." Couple of things I need to bring up. Lone Wolf update in a minute, Carl, because I am Mr. Lone Wolf with my New York double, I believe, from last week. But we'll get into that in a sec.
Hang on. Well, one of them's wrong. You got one of them right, but one of them weren't.
I thought I had the Giants and the Jets as a double. Oh well.
No. I had my upset of the week, and I said this last week. My upset of the week was the Giants beating the Ravens.
Yeah, I tend to blank out when you speak. No, I'm only joking. Couple of things from last week, and it's a real shame that Scott has been a complete doofus and has had to do an extra shift at the drive-through because he thought we were going on at a later time again. But unfortunately, we're back at our normal time. The Buffalo Bills, are they for real?
Yes.
Or was it just a bad day at the office for Kermit?
No, I'm sorry. But Josh Allen was just fucking sensational last week. He just was. He had three touchdowns, no interceptions. I think he had over a passer in of something like over 130, I think it was. He was just amazing. The Bills just... This was a game that the Bills needed to win more than the Chiefs did. Because if the Chiefs won, the whole narrative would be, oh dear. So if the Bills only make the Super Bowl, they don't bump into Kansas City down the line. But they've now got over the boogeyman, and that's now helping them. I think personally right now, the way the AFC is, I think the AFC is going to run through Buffalo. It's not going to run through Kansas City.
A bit like, say, what happened last year with the Niners overcoming the Rams, as they always do. Well, not always, that's the wrong thing. But you get my drift, right?
Yeah.
And then it gets to the playoffs, the NFC Championship game, and we fell short. Yes, it's great for obviously for home field advantage, etc., and having the home field advantage for that. But if they fall to the Chiefs in the playoffs, that win means nothing. So whilst it was a good result, and we can all have a good laugh at Scott, and obviously all my other friends that are in the chat over there, and I've noticed since we've been talking about the Bills beating the Chiefs, we've had no comments. Funny that, it's like they've all frozen in time because they can't comment on it. I love the game. I thought it was brilliant. But as I say, the only thing I would say is that win whilst yes, it was a good win, of course, and a bit of a statement, that win will mean shit if the Chiefs or another team knock off the Bills in the playoffs. You can't rely. That, to me, I mean, what do you think, Paul? Are you the same as me, or are you, obviously we're not Chiefs or Bills fans, but where would you rather win in the playoffs or win the regular season games and happy days?
Well, I am gutted Scott's not here because, like Carl gave a plug earlier, Nick, I did watch the Kingdom's Chief live, and John V did a great job on there. Purely because we're watching for the Chiefs this week. I've never watched before because the Chiefs fans. I felt the three spoke really well about the game, Nick. I liked the breakdown of it because I only watched the game back in 40 because, as Carl said at the start of the show, Sunday was mental for me, which we'll get into later. It was such an awesome day. I felt a bit rude, Carl, because I kind of didn't answer your initial question. We didn't expect the coverage. We didn't expect Sky Sports to be there. We didn't expect 250 plus NFL fans. It was awesome. Unfortunately, it meant I couldn't watch the Chiefs game, Nick, because obviously after the debacle that was the Falcons 49ers, which we'll get into, the game did let it down. But for me, as a neutral, Josh Allen versus Patrick Mahomes, I mean, to answer your question, you always want to win in the playoffs. As 49ers fans, Nick, we're reminded every day by the Rams fans, yes, we might have beat them 20, in the regular season, but when it matters, what are all the Rams fans pointing to at the moment? So when you ask that question,
they're going to have for the next 20 years. But I get your point.
Could see Carl when you asked that question. I saw Carl's eyes light up at the playoff. Of course, you want to win in the playoffs. Now, for me, I think it was good for the Bills to get over that hump, and I do think it kind of, if we beat the Chiefs on Sunday, Nick, does that eradicate the Super Bowl loss? Of course it doesn't. You'd always rather win in the playoffs. But like Carl said, as a neutral watching that game, it was unreal. And it just puts more pressure on the rest of the teams in the league because you look at those two quarterbacks, Nick, and you think, we want one of them. I want a Patrick Mahomes. I want a Josh Allen. So...
But the thing is, if the 49ers do knock off the Chiefs, it means we get a whole season left to just remind Mr. McDonald's every week, because I'm sure him and his minions who are in the chat will do exactly the same to us, and you expect that. 49ers, Falcons. One thing that really stood out to me, and I mean really stood out to me, was they piped crowd noise into that stadium big time because there were hardly any Falcon fans there. And it got to the point where they were on offense, the Falcons this is, and you could hear the 49er fans in attendance booing, putting off and doing everything. When the 49ers were on offense, the first few drives, nothing. No crowd noise. Forget the fact that they were winning. It was like a fucking library. And then all of a sudden, and bearing in mind, they were panning around the crowd and you could see all the empty seats. And then in the third quarter, it was like a packed stadium. And they showed one shot, and it was like from the corner up high, and there was no one there. And the crowd were really into it. I don't see the point of why you would, when it's blatantly obvious the stadium is 2/3 full, probably not even that, I don't know, half, 2/3 full, you make it sound like a fucking AC/DC concert in 1985. And that really struck me. And I'm not saying no other teams do it. I'm sure there are a lot of teams that do it. And it's good afternoon here, Panama. Sorry, I did see Carl put your comment up. Thanks for joining. I thought that was pathetic. I don't know. Did you notice that? Well, you had the sound on, Paul. Did you not? Did you notice that? But it was like a library.
We were watching the Sky Sports coverage for
obvious reasons. Then that tells you all you need to know. You had to listen to all that waffle But anyway.
Well, to be honest, watching it with 250 other 49er fans was an awesome experience.
You would have probably made more noise than the Atlanta fans in the stadium had they hadn't piped that in.
But the 49ers fans always travel well. I mean, obviously, Wayne Breezy, who I know is a good friend of the show, they had their takeover in Atlanta, and seeing the footage on the Saturday was awesome. And I think that's something that they're keen to replicate over here, Nick. I know you'd reached out to me on social media about, events being up in the north. There will be events in the south. Obviously,
yeah, but not Bristol. Bristol isn't south.
No, what I mean is
not south. That's still fucking miles
But
away.
basically, whenever you're planning these events as fan groups, you stay away from London because of the international series games. But I think the way the Packers did their meet up a couple of weeks ago, where they took over Belushi's, and we've used Belushi's before, Nick, up in Edinburgh. So there will be plans to do London. But as you can appreciate, in the run up to this week, it's just been full steam ahead. And it wasn't our event. That was the first official 49ers event in the UK. So they were behind it. That's why Sky Sports were there. The game was a little bit flat. Obviously, we got it to 14-all. The atmosphere was electric. And then after that...
I'll tell you what. Going down 14-0, I thought, I can't believe this. And then they really showed some balls to come back. And then the injuries happened. And again, and I'm not saying Nick Bosa is the be-all and end-all of this defense, but the amount of players that kept going down, and Ebukam was up and down more than someone who'd fought Deontay Wilder for 5 rounds. He was in, he was out, he was up, he was down, he was in, out, shake it all about. Because they had no one else. They were running out of defensive players. And I don't want to say that, the Niners defense is Nick Bosa, Travarius Ward, and that's it. But it did show there are, and it's fucking Marcus Mariota. I said last week, make him pass and you'll beat him because he's static. He isn't a very good passer. And what did they do? They let him do a russy-wussy all over him. I mean, that was like college Mariota.
Yeah, I think he was good though at using our aggressiveness against us. Like you said there, Nick Bosa wasn't playing. Drake Jackson didn't get a lot of snaps. And some of the other people that filled in when I went back and watched the game in 40, which I had to wait till Tuesday because we were blacked out on Sky. And you were seeing Mariota was doing well at holding the ball. He was letting the edge attack, and then he was taken off. And to be honest, Nick, I'd said the same as you on our pod last week. I'd scoffed at Mariota because one of the co-hosts is a big Oregon fan and he loved Mariota from college. And I was like, nah, he isn't going to do much against us. So it just goes to show you what, as fans, what do we know sometimes?
The thing is, though, and you can watch any game, and they always say it with the RPO. If that end crashes, you know what you can do. And every time, and I don't know if it's aggression so much as just telegraphing it. Wait a few seconds before all of a sudden you the end crashes, because he knows what to do then. And he had more rushing yards than most of the 49ers running backs combined. It was ridiculous.
50 yards rushing, I think Mariota had in that game.
I think we had 28 in total for rushing. I think we had 11 rushing attempts or something ridiculously low.
So you had 16 rushing attempts, 7 by Wilson, 3 from Jimmy Garoppolo, 2 from Deebo Samuel, 4 from Telvin Coleman. So altogether, that would be, I think it's 50. Yeah, 50. You had 50 yards rushing on the ground.
I understand the shit that Shanahan takes. I totally understand that. Once his scripted plays are gone, he then guesses quite a bit and what he thinks going to work. And the running game will flash, and then he just goes away from it. Even if we're not in and it's going to be very interesting, and we are going to get into, obviously, the Chiefs game properly. What happens if we are actually in the game, and the running game is working, forget McCaffrey for a minute, but the actual players that we knew we had, whether he goes away from that or whether he sticks with it. And he keeps going away from something, and that's where we end up 3 and out. And the drops last week, McLeod, Kittle, ridiculous. And Jimmy threw those dimes, and he was let down by his receivers, and that annoyed me. And he actually threw, and they were both deep passes. Jimmy can't throw a deep ball. He throws 2 deep balls, and they're dropped.
It's not the fact that he can't throw a deep ball, Nick. It's the fact he keeps throwing it to the wrong guys. Yes, okay, he had drops in the game as well. But he had 2 picks in the game. He's I think he's one of the bottom 3 or 4 quarterbacks in the NFL on 15 plus yard throws.
The first pick does to me means nothing. There was like 8 seconds left or whatever it was. So yes, it was a pick, but it wasn't damaging. The second one, obviously.
Yeah, the second one was a terrible throw into triple coverage right at the start of fourth.
That was just a throwaway. Just throw the ball away. If you can't get anybody open, just throw the ball into the dirt.
You're never going to hear why he would do that, or he's not going to give you a proper answer. But we all saw it. And you can't tell me that he can't see there's 3 people there and he still throws it. And yes, I get you might have juice in the flat open, but if you're not looking that way, if both of your first 2 reads are in the same sort of area, that's where you're looking. You're not looking. And you can't tell me all of these quarterbacks are like this all the time, looking at where their receivers are, because they're not. But yet everyone has to say, oh, yeah, he missed a what. But if he's not looking there and it's not his primary read, he isn't going to. And yeah, that second pick was ridiculous. And I've got no excuses for that. But yeah, I don't know. It was just really depressing. It was a 6 p.m. kickoff. I went to bed at a decent time. I'd had a nice drink, and they were fucking awful.
You mentioned
it really stuck with me. That did till Tuesday. I couldn't get over it till Tuesday.
Yeah. You mentioned those quarterbacks, though, Nick, that like people talked about. So in the preparation for the Chiefs game, obviously I've gone and I've watched Mahomes, and Carl will probably chuckle. I'm not comparing Mahomes to Jimmy, but Mahomes keeps hold of that ball. And he can have hold of the ball 6, 7, 8 seconds. He's running around. He's letting people get open. And I'm not saying Jimmy has to do that. And obviously, Josh Allen is another one that's good at it. But what's frustrating, I'm waiting to hear Carl's opinion on his new saviour, because he's going to have to swap that number 10 jersey for a number 4. Because when you were talking, I could see he was smiling when you were talking about quarterbacks. So,
Zappy Day.
I think he could be the surprise of the season if he stays in there. Well, or it could be I'm trying to think of a QB that came in for a few games and then a bit like Mariota did a couple of seasons ago when he was at the Raiders. I think he played 2 games and played lights out. But there was never a controversy because
the problem was Derek
on 8,000 was always coming back in.
Yeah, that was always going to be the case. That was always going to be the case.
Now with New England, I honestly think he's got a bit of a conundrum.
There is me and the lads from the Patriots Touchback podcast, which you can follow us up there, by the way. We both agreed to the fact that Zappy right now has done an amazing job. I think he's got over 111 passer rating in his first 2 games starting. He's had 4 touchdowns to 1 interception, and really the interception weren't on him. It was on Nelson Aguilar having stone for hands in the game against Detroit. But he's been solid. He's getting the ball out on time. He's making good reads. And last week, what you saw of him, he was actually throwing the ball down the field with a lot more aggression than what he did in the Lions game. And that was good to see. Also the tight ends were coming into effect as well, which was helping. I say there is a saying: if it's not broken, don't fix it. Now I know Mac Jones' return is coming back, okay, but the difference is to what Nick said regarding of Mario playing for the Ravens and Derek Carr's out injured. Derek Carr has built up enough capital and enough repertoire for him just to take that job back because he's been there for well over.
I mean, that was never going to be
a good part of a decade. In the same way, there was another player as well. I can't remember who it was. Someone stepped in, but then that starting QB came back in. If anybody knows who that team was, put your comments down in the section below, by the way. But Mac Jones hasn't done enough for me in order to reclaim the starting job. Yes, he was very good as a rookie, 22 touchdowns to 13 interceptions. He made the Pro Bowl. And Ben Volen, who is the biggest Patriots fucking arsehole you could probably say regarding of clickbait takes, you could say, saying that the Pro Bowl was in over his head and now he's a little bit over his skis. I find that a little bit disgraceful, frankly, because he played the first 3 games. We were playing under a new scheme. As soon as Bailey Zappi came in, we went back to the old scheme, and it seems quite strange now that the old scheme is working a damn sight better than what the new scheme is. So I say right now is until Bailey Zappi either has an inconsistent game or he stinks up the joint, he throws no interception, but he throws 2 or 3 picks, then let Mac Jones come in. But for the time being, I would probably say stick with Bailey Zappi. But this is Bill Belichick. This is not a Tom Brady, Drew Bledsoe type of situation. It's not that type of situation because Bledsoe helped us get to a Super Bowl back in 96. And it was 95 and 96. It was against the Packers, so I'm not 100%. It was one of those years. And Brady was a 6th round pick. It's good. But the thing was, when Bledsoe went out, Brady played okay. But when Bledsoe was ready to come back in after a couple of weeks out, Belichick stuck with Brady. And it was basically by God's gift that it was the best decision he ever did. Otherwise, it wouldn't be 6-time Super Bowl champions. But with this, Bailey Zappi has got roughly probably about the same sort of talent as Mac Jones. He doesn't have the readability or the capability that Mac Jones had because Mac Jones played for Alabama and obviously he had everything given to him. Bailey Zappi played for Western Kentucky. He was asked to throw the ball 1,000 times in all his games. That's why he had 62 touchdowns. That's why he broke every single FBS record in the NCAA. So, I personally say start Zappi on Monday against the Bears. But if Jones does start, then you better show up, mate, because this really should light a fire under your ass. If you go in there thinking, I got my job back, it's fine. You start throwing interceptions again. Guess what? Your ass is going back on the bench if Bailey Zappi comes in.
The only reason I asked you, Carl, was Chrissy, as you mentioned, flew in from Italy last week. That was awesome for her to join us. Her fiance is a Patriots fan. So obviously,
I've met him. He's a lovely dude.
So don't worry. We looked after her. We passed on all our regards. As you can appreciate, as soon as the official side got added to the meetup, it added the likes of Chrissy to wanting to come over. And I had a chat with her fiance, Chris, because he's, like you, a Patriots fan. And obviously, there was a lot of Mac Jones talk with it being a 49er faithful UK meetup. And he was saying the same to you. And that's one of the things Sky Sports were asking us, Carl, how can they grow the game in the UK? And they were saying about like a franchise. And we were saying, we don't want a UK franchise as such. We've got our teams. And we were talking, me and a Patriots fan are sat there talking about Mac Jones, Bailey Zappi. And I'm like, yeah, I've got a friend who I do Shank Club with, KB. He's a Patriots fan. And they couldn't get over that amount of love and joy in the UK. And I wanted your opinion because obviously you've spent a lot of time on these shows listening about Trey Lance, Jimmy G, Trey Lance. And I'm glad you kind of said it wasn't.
I've got experience now. I know what to expect. You could say that, really. Yeah, there is a QB controversy. The difference is, the 49ers knew that you gave away the farm to get Trey Lance because, you wanted the next step. You wanted the next generation in at quarterback. The thing is with us, though, is that we've got a quarterback who is solidified because he played for Alabama. And we have a 4th-round rookie who isn't from Western Kentucky. Name me a quarterback that came out of Western Kentucky that done well in the NFL.
Colonel
can't.
Sanders. Oh no, he just
Oh, the fuck. He just made chicken.
I'm not
fuck's
great
sake.
at college football. It's not something I'm allowed to watch on a Saturday.
something else as well that you're talking about QB controversies and stuff, and Bledsoe and Brady. That was like Kaepernick and Alex Smith. Everyone thought Alex Smith would come straight back in once he'd cleared concussion protocol even. And yeah, I've got both of the words mixed up. And it didn't happen. So it is going to be interesting to see what happens when the Mac attack is back. Anyway. Let's have some lone wolf news from last week, because I want to know who came out on top.
No one did.
Did
No one did. Right. Okay. So
I know we obviously got one each for the.
You got the Jets right over the Packers. Me and Scott chose the Packers because we can't see them losing 2 straight. Well, more for us. Scott got a lone wolf. He chose the Bengals over the Saints. You and me chose the Saints in that game. And the other lone wolf was, once again, for the second week running, I lone wolf the Patriots. You went against my fucking franchise. So yeah, I lone wolf. So we all got one lone wolf each, but you ended up with a minus because you tried to lone wolf. Let me just check. You tried to lone wolf the Panthers, I think, and that fucking blew up in your face. And you tried to do the Seahawks, do the hang on, was it Seahawks? No, you tried to do the card. You went for a tie over the Cardinals and the Seahawks.
I pushed those 2 teams like I always will if they're playing each other. Because I just can't pick them. I can't. So you need to know, Paul. I don't know if you saw any of the show last week.
I've caught bits of it, but
I thought, I'd change it up when we did the lone wolf picks by reading the injury reports. And the week I tried to do the injury report, there was like the first 3 games I couldn't pronounce half the people on it. So I'm definitely not doing that this week because everyone thought it was hilarious. I couldn't pronounce half the names, so I'm definitely not doing that. Hang on, I've got a comment here. Hopefully,
yeah.
Nick didn't know if you talked about it. What do you think about the 20,000 team attendance tomorrow and the return of Harbour? It's always very strange when it's an anniversary of something. It's not something that British people tend to do with soccer, bringing back teams that didn't win. They'll bring back victorious teams, but they don't bring back losing teams. And I love that 2012 team, apart from MC Hammer's inspired Crabtree, as he was his agent, apparently. I thought that the Niners grew tired of Harbaugh and his antics and his outspokenness, possibly. Great coach. I really like Harbaugh as a coach. And he seems to be doing, or he's done better at the NFL level than he has been doing since he left. But no, I liked Harbaugh as a coach, but as I say, I honestly think there was far too much infighting going on that we didn't hear about. There were leaks, and there were a lot of leaks. Whether it was him, whether it was Scott Balke, whether it was whoever. And we saw what happened once he left. The dross that we put up with until Shanahan came along. And I still don't understand why people are calling for Shanahan and Lynch's head when you think back to that era. So for me, I loved Harbaugh, but I think his shenanigans, shall we say, got a bit too much near the end, and they had to cut the cord on it it was a shame because I really liked Shanahan as a coach. I thought the team were exciting. I loved how he transformed Alex Smith from someone who couldn't pass water to a legit starting QB, and he turned his game around. And it was those Harbaugh years were the best I'd seen since the Walsh and Seifert years. So, A, that'll tell you how old I am and how long I've been watching this sport. And B, I'm just happy for Shanahan and what we've got now, because it is a throwback to those days of winning. Yes, we lose as well. And I know he's got a losing record at the moment. But we have won some very impressive games with Shanahan at the helm, the same as we did with Harbaugh. What do you think, Paul?
Well, for me, Nick, that was the year I started watching, and that was why I supported the 49ers, Colin Kaepernick, Harbaugh. So seeing that 10-year anniversary come round is just solidified my fandom in the NFL. Like you, I loved Harbaugh. I loved Colin Kaepernick. That team, I talked about it on Tales from the Bay. I honestly thought we were winning the Super Bowl against the Ravens on that comeback. I think all 49er fans have PTSD like Richard Sherman with the whole run the ball, don't throw it to Crabtree. But I'm not one of those fans calling for Shanahan's head. I think you've touched upon it quite nicely there. It shows what can happen if the front office aren't on the same page. And I think that's what happened towards the end of Harbaugh's time. It was very clear there was going to be a winner and a loser, and they went with Balky instead. And then, like you said, we had to put with Tom Sula. It actually made me love the team more, going through a 2-14 season and watching Brian Hoyer throw pick six in the first 7 seconds of a Monday Night Football against the Rams. So it is a bit unusual for British fans, like you said, to see the team in attendance, because it's not something that we do. I don't think Shanahan will be bothered by it at all. I've seen some things online where they're saying Shanahan will be bothered. Cohen seems to think that's why we traded for CMC, to take the spotlight off, which I thought was hilarious when I saw that tweet yesterday. I thought he's trying to make himself relevant on the biggest news of the season for trading. But I liked Harbaugh. I was sorry to see him go, and I'm looking forward to Sunday's game.
Yeah, it's going to, and you will obviously, again, it's not the American TV. Well, I know Sky takes the American feed. But, you know, if that was a soccer game and it was exclusive to Sky or whoever, you'd see a lot more coverage of that team coming back. Whereas the American thing, I don't think you're going to see a lot of that. You'll get the odd glimpse. But there again, you see Jerry Rice, when he's in attendance, he's on the TV more than Shanahan is. So we may get the odd glimpse. We may get the old.
What do you think, Carl, as a neutral watching in? What do you think of it all?
It's good to see Jim Harbaugh back. I think I know the exact reason why Jim Harbaugh is back for this particular game. Not because
conspiracy theory.
Well, no conspiracy. It's not because of the fact you're playing the Chiefs. It's because of the fact the Michigan Wolverines are on a bye.
Oh, so that's it?
That's it.
Enough.
So, you know, and that sort of thing. That's why I checked the scores today. I thought Michigan were on a bye. I thought, so that's why Jim Harbaugh's gone over to the Bay Area for this time round. No, it's good to see him back. Yes, he had his antics, but I generally thought I will take our old friend Dion's side of things, because he absolutely hated Trent Baalke. And he said Trent Baalke was the issue, not Jim Harbaugh. Yes, Jim Harbaugh had his antics, but that was what he was like as a coach. You know, he was passionate. He was all about energy and excitement. It was all about heart. It was all about heart.
The one thing I don't get about that, and you're right about his antics and stuff, Baalke was not a very good general manager. I'm not saying Harbaugh was an amazing coach up until that season, but why would you pick Baalke or have Jed York's ear, which he obviously must have done, to convince him to fucking hook him out the door? It makes no sense. The best seasons we've had in I don't know how long, and yet Baalke stays there. and they hook him. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, but they look at the model, don't they, that the GM puts the team together and the coaches the team. So what they were hoping for was Balky could keep picking these gems in the draft, and we all know how it went. I mean, like I said there, Tom Sula, I was quite happy when we hired him. We promoted within because I was quite newish to the sport. But the way that season went, then Chip Kelly, everyone had high hopes for Chip Kelly coming in. And like you said, Nick, anyone calling for Shanahan's head just needs to go watch those 2 seasons and then come back to me and say why you want to change from Shanahan.
Yeah, no, exactly. Right, now, we've got 3 of us, so there could be some lone wolf situations, which is always good. Because obviously, when there's 2 of us, doesn't really make
much sense.
Good viewing.
No,
because we just do. Well, I mean, there is still, and obviously, hopefully, Mr. McDonald's has got his phone next to his till, and he's able to throw in his picks as we go. And hopefully, the drive-through's not too busy for you, Scott, if you are in the building. If not, I'm sure he'll catch up. But let's get into some game picks. So let's just put banner up. Don't forget as well, if this is your first time, might even be your last time watching us, who knows? And you might want to not like and subscribe and hit the notification bell, because unlike Scott, people actually turned up to watch us. Unlike Scott, who took an extra shift at the McDonald's and got his timings wrong.
To be fair, I did watch the Chiefs Kingdom live back. I didn't stay up for it. And I thought Scott and the boys were quite good. And obviously it was epic to see John V on there from a 49er point of view. But yeah, there was no way, Nick, I was staying up live for that one. Their timings are a little bit... I know Carl went on the locker room rant the other week and stayed up. But
yeah, but that was that's a one-off until Christmas. It's a one-off till Christmas at least.
It's
Can't
ridiculous.
do that again.
I hate time zones. Time zones in this sport that we love are the worst things.
Well, before you move on to your thing now, I've got to give credit to Ryan Smith and Larry Kruger. They actually waited up for me, Nick, which shows the impact. Yeah, so when the emails go backwards and forwards, we recorded at 8:45 on Thursday morning. They waited up for me. So it just goes to show what you said earlier, Carl. The impact on the watch party was unbelievable. So it was about 1:30 in the morning their time, Nick. And it was early in the morning for my time. That's the first time that's happened since you gave me my opportunity to come on, where when people have asked me to come on shows, it's always like, Carl will know, we have to go on late and suffer for it the next day. So that was quite nice to be fair.
It's nice when they put other people first, I must admit. That's good. Right, here we go, boys. Now, this is a bit of an intriguing one to start with. Browns versus or at the Ravens. Ravens 3-3, Browns 2-4, heading in the wrong or in the opposite direction. Browns Ravens, Carl. Choose.
Give me a second. I am just getting the spread up if I can. Baltimore minus 6.5 point favorites. The Browns got absolutely decimated by the Patriots last week. The Ravens
spoken like a true homer.
Ravens ran into a wall known as the New York Giants. But the Ravens have got too much for this team. And they
had too much for the Giants.
Still, I'll pick the Ravens. Pick the Ravens over the Browns. Okay,
Paul.
Well, I might disappoint you here, Nick. I've got a good friend who's into the NFL. He's actually at the game tomorrow. He doesn't support either team. And also, locker room rant connection. I can never go for the Browns because John V would never forgive me with Nico. So I'm on the same page as Carl. And I'm going with the Ravens purely because my friend's going over and he wants the Ravens to win. That's the logic behind my pick.
What did you say?
Hang on
a minute.
Who the fuck is it? We've got Tommy Lee Jones on the set.
No, that's not Tommy Lee Jones. He's more like Tommy Cooper. That's one.
What's up?
You timed that very well, Scott.
It's very good to see you. I like the way you slipped out of your McDonald's uniform on your break to come and do the picks and put your Chiefs uniform stuff on. Just out of interest, Scott, how did the Chiefs do last week? Because apparently the Bills are frauds. Chiefs are a much better team. And things like that. Sorry, I got confused. Yeah, how did your mighty Chiefs do last week against the frauds that are the Bills?
Well, let's see. They held the Buffalo production, I think, all season.
Loser. Take the L's. Take the L.
We were missing 3 starters on defense. We had a touchdown taken away by penalty, and we were a minute away from winning the game.
But apart from that, you lost.
They did lose.
Thank
That
you.
they did.
That's all I wanted to hear. And I did text Carl and say,
I mean, the Bills are no Falcons.
Should we send out a search party for you in case you had gone MIA?
Hey, the Chiefs were at 3/4 strength, and they were a minute away from beating the best team in the NFL. But the Bills are no mighty Atlanta Falcons. I'll give you that, Nick.
Hang on a minute. In your lap, do you have a portion of crow? Just asking, are you going to be eating some crow pie after all the shit you gave the Bills last week?
No, not really. I mean, it was a close game. I didn't come away from that game thinking the Bills were clearly the better team than the Chiefs and the best team in the NFL. Again, the Chiefs had a number of things go against them, and they were a minute away from winning.
He's not gonna admit anything, Carl. So I don't even know why I'm trying to bait him into saying something because he's not going to.
I never said the Bills sucked. I never said the Bills were a bad team, but this idea that they were just clearly better than the Chiefs was just ignorant, and it would. I mean, they're right there. They're neck and neck.
They won.
So
they won. Doesn't matter.
It was a close
game. Doesn't matter.
They won.
It
was a close game.
And I did hear a rumor that outside the stadium afterwards, you were doing some Bills Mafia and jumping through tables, and you couldn't even hit that. A bit like Mahomes couldn't hit some of his receivers. Is that true?
You mean MVS that dropped the ball in the end zone and let the defender take it away for an interception?
Oh.
Of all the weeks to start talking smack, Nick, you do realise what's happening.
Listen, no, I have a very good plan for this, Paul. Trust me, I have a very good plan for this. So, back to the picks. Obviously, we're still on the first game. Browns at Ravens. Mr. Smug, choose.
Man, what's up with the Ravens? Good God, they look like a good team, but they lose every week.
All their defeats have all come when they've blown leads, set leads.
Right.
They got to kick it in the ball sooner rather than later. They got to sort itself out because I've said this preseason. Ravens fail to make the playoffs. Lamar Jackson will fuck off elsewhere.
And Harbour, telling you, the seat's getting hotter. The seat is getting hotter where he's concerned.
You know, everybody kind of said that at the first part of last year, and then they got better and won a bunch of games towards the end. So I don't know if he's the problem. They don't have a defense, which is amazing to say for the Baltimore Ravens to say that they don't have a defense. But the Browns are the same as the Ravens. I mean, they're in all these close games and they blow leads and do the absolute dumbest thing that they could do at the end of the game to lose. I mean, man, I'll pick the Ravens. I don't feel good about it though.
Ravens are done. Stick a fork in them. Browns.
Could be.
Browns. Buccaneers at the CMC. Less Pandas. because they haven't got fuck all there.
They might as well be a panda now. Carolina Pandas.
Just very quickly, Carl, before we went on air, I gave you my prediction of the Brighton Man City game.
Well, it's 1-0 City at the minute.
No, it's 2-0. They've just scored a penalty. So my 2 to 5 goals is quite close, and Brighton probably won't score, but hey ho. Bucks, Panthers. Scott, choose.
Trying to get that sun out of your guys' eyes. I'll take the Bucks. I mean, the Panthers got rid of the only weapon that they had on offense, really.
Yeah, and I will get your take before we finish on CMC going to San Francisco.
Hey, I saw he pulled a hamstring walking off the airplane.
He didn't even know. He pulled a hamstring when he signed the contract before he got on the plane.
I saw that tweet, Scott. I responded.
I saw you, Paul. I saw you.
And stop sending me Ginger Assassin memes as well. He is the Ginger Assassin, but not very.
When the Saints got the Ginger Assassin, someone probably didn't explain to him he's supposed to kill the other team.
I was going to say he
threw 2 pick sixes in the first half. Is that right?
Yeah, he wouldn't assassinate someone from 2 yards with a Magnum or a shotgun. He'd probably fire it above their head or fire it on the floor. But he's still the Ginger Assassin. So, sorry, you've gone Bucks. Paul?
Yeah, I'm going for the Bucks as well. I'm on the same page as Scott. I'm not giving any analysis. The Panthers are awful, and I'm not betting against Tom Brady in this one. So that's it.
Look, there's another sad person making excuses for the Chiefs.
Oh, yeah. I forgot that, too. They missed a field goal, too.
I can talk smack until probably just
9:24
after midnight UK time. But as I said, we're coming on to that game. And I know I'm going to get it all back. But I'm just living in the joy of the Bills beating the vaulty Kermit the Frogs. Hence the stop Kermit. I hope you saw that, Mr. Smug. Carl.
Yeah, taking the Bucks. Yeah, I am. I think we should rename Carolina Panthers to the Carolina Pandas because they're fucking useless.
We've got the Tytoons, so they may as well be the Pandas, right?
They are the Pandas. And Freddie Harper Davis has just messaged me saying he is at the Bristol Rovers game. So, so you was right.
He's mind you, it's Rovers, not City, so he isn't exactly taking his life into his own hands. This Bristol Rovers are a bit softer than City, so he should be all right. Bless his heart. Yeah, I think it's a clean sweep for the Bucks. I'm more sort of disappointed, really. We talked about the trade for a sec. I would have rather have had Brian Burns. And forgetting the injury bit, I would rather have had Brian Burns than CMC during the Niners, personally. But
what about Shaq Thompson? Because he was also on the training block as well, at linebacker.
No, because it's edge we need. Edge pressure.
Okay.
If Bosa goes down again, as I said, Ebukam was in, out, shake it all about. And we lost that. And that's the one that kept crashing on the edge. Okay, so that's a clean sweep. The mighty, let's pipe in a shit ton of stadium noise when we've only got a half full stadium, shitty ass Falcons at the Bungles. Carl, choose.
This is going to be a high scoring game. I think this could be one of the games of the week, actually. I'm going to take Cincinnati. I just think they've got a little bit too much on offense for the Falcons to deal with. And it is going to be at Cincinnati, so they can't pump in any crowd noise because they can't.
In fact, Atlanta will have more fans going away to the Bungles than they did at home against the Niners. But that's another story. Paul, what you got?
You mean the Atlanta Falcons that are clearly the best team in the NFL after that performance last week? I mean, how can you bet against Mariota? He's clearly better than Mahomes, isn't he, Scott, after that performance?
I mean, he's right up there now.
To be fair though, Paul, right? Mariota won. Kermit didn't.
Oh, I'm telling you what, Nick, you're on your own on this one. Scott, do not come after me because I'll make my feelings clear when we get onto that game. But I'm going with the Bengals, the same as Carl. That's my pick for this one.
Are we going to have a clean sweep for the Bengals, or do you give the vaulted, piping crowd noise Falcons with Mariota at the controls, Scott?
Man, it's hard to tell with the Falcons. They're one of those teams I just can't get right. Every time I pick them to lose, they win, and every time I pick them to win, they lose. I don't. So I want to pick them, but something's telling me that means I should go against my gut. So I'll go with the Bengals at home.
Yeah, I don't think you can see past the Bengals. But then last week, nothing would surprise me. It really wouldn't. The defense came up big for the Falcons. Admittedly, Jimmy G kind of helped them along, and the fumble did. But
well, you guys were missing what, like 2/3 of your team last week?
Yeah, pretty much. And we were saying long before you joined, about how easy it was for Mariota to sit back in the pocket with no pressure, really. And like we said last week, I said, pressure him, make him pass, and that's where we'll get the mistakes. We didn't. We crashed the ends. He RPO'd. Ridiculous.
Yeah, that's because without our first choice defense, so we don't send the blitz. We send 4, and we didn't have the front 4.
We didn't even send 4.
We didn't have the secondary. So
we were sending 2.5.
Yeah, it was.
Now. The next game on the slate, my Detroit Lions versus the Cowgirls. Now, we all know where I'm going, and I am going to lone wolf it because none of you fuckers are going to have the same conviction to pick the Lions over the Cowgirls. So, shall I just lone wolf now?
No. I have a good friend who's a Lions fan, and he's absolutely loving this year. And I have another friend who's a Cowboys fan. So I want the Lions to win. So you're not lone wolf in this one, Nick. I'm on the same page as you.
Oh, Mr. Smug?
Cowboys and that defense. Yeah. They're good.
Mom said, let your son grow up to be a cowboy. Sorry.
That's my favorite song, Nick. Don't.
I know. I can tell.
Yeah. I'm taking Cowboys in this. After what we done to the Lions 2 weeks ago, we slapped them back down to earth. And also Dak Prescott is back. So prepare for an absolute barn burner.
What's the Lions record?
The Lions
they've won one game, haven't they? They're 1-4.
Yeah.
Paul just said his buddy's a Lions fan and he's ecstatic about this season. That just tells you how bad it is.
You would be up to the point they got shut out by the Patriots.
Hey, we're 1-4
because they were the highest scoring offense.
Yeah,
we're 1-4, but we scored a lot of points.
Yeah, but Scott, they're not 0-16, and they were on Hard Knocks in the
exactly.
UK.
They've won one game,
and they're ecstatic.
One game, trust me, they've won a game, and to Lions fans, I mean, they probably were ecstatic that they were on Hard Knocks and could have gone 0-14. It was just the fact that the TV company HBO thought they were relevant enough to put them on that show. So that's progress, right?
Progress is winning 6-7 games from a season where you finished with 4 wins. I think it was last season if they finished with 4 wins.
Well, unlike the Steelers are going to do this year, but we'll get on to them. Right. Now, do Big Blue go in to Jacksonville and come away with the W? I can't even believe I'm saying this. The 5-1 Giants against the 2-4 Jaguars. Carl, choose.
I have a confession. The Giants' record is not deceiving, and it's not a lie. They are looking very good right now. So I am taking the G-Men to beat the Jags.
Right. So about a minute and 16.
Hour 16.
An hour and 16. Carl, I don't know what was in that water he was drinking, but he's lost his fucking shit.
How
He's
we lost?
actually
They're 5-1.
Believing the
They're
Giants.
5-1. They knocked off
bullshit.
they knocked off the Packers in London. They've just beat the Ravens last week, who are supposed to be a playoff contender or an AFC Championship contender. Brian
Ravens
Dable's got
are
something
shit.
going there. Brian
The
Dable's got
Ravens are
something
cooked.
cooking in the Giants right now.
The Ravens are cooked. What's his name hurt his hand? Mr. Discount Double Check. And they don't have any decent receivers. But apart from that, yeah, that's 2 wins. If it was last year, there's no way that I mean,
Their
to me,
offense runs entirely on Saquon Barkley.
well, you
Yeah,
better hope.
All of it runs through Saquon Barkley.
Do you think then? Okay, so do you think that in 3 weeks' time we'll be having the same thing about CMC? The Niners' offense runs through him because he can catch passes, can run, can block. Or is he just slipping in there to be part of the machine?
He isn't going to get 70% of them, all the 70% of the targets. Let's put it that way. He was having that against Carolina for a reason because Carolina just had absolutely nothing there. I thought they had legitimate weapons, DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson. But then you look at their quarterback position, it's like, horrible. So, but he's going to Niners. He is going to get a lot of touches, but he's not going to have like 60, 70% of the bulk of the workload.
Well, to be fair, we don't run that much, so I doubt it. But I just thought I'd see if anyone would agree that they think that's what's the situation. So you're going for the G-Men.
I'm taking the Giants. Yeah, I think they're looking good right now.
Oh.
I'm going for the Giants. I have a friend who's a Packers fan who thinks that they were going to win the Super Bowl this year, and he went down to London to watch the Packers-Giants game, and I took great pleasure in seeing the Giants win that one. So purely on that basis, going off what Carl said, because he knows more than me about the Giants, the Jags have looked better this season, but I'm going for the Giants in this one.
I mean, I was really disappointed when the Packers came to London because Aaron Rodgers said he was going to light it up and smash it up all over the place, and he was a little pussycat.
They were up by 4. They were up by 14. They were up by 14 points in the first half at one point. And then they just decided just to do nothing in the second half.
I always love to see Aaron Rodgers on the sideline looking like he's sucking a lemon. It's fantastic. It's a fantastic thing. Scott, who you got?
I'm so disappointed in the Jaguars this year. I thought they were going to be better this year. They came out, played good, won some game, and looked good. And then now they're back to the same old Jaguars. They can't win. I mean, if you look at the teams, I think the Jaguars have better players than the Giants. Like Carl said, it's all Saquon Barkley. But yeah, I'm not picking the Jaguars. The Giants. I mean, they're 5-1. Maybe they're more of like a 4-2 and 3-3 team. They haven't, outside of Green Bay, like I said, the Ravens had them beaten that game and then let them back. And then if Lamar Jackson doesn't make one of the worst passes you'll ever see in an NFL game by a quarterback, so I don't know. I don't think they're 5-1 good, but they're definitely 4-2, 3-3, probably good team. I'm gonna pick them.
They're definitely frisky. Definitely. Yeah. The Giants, they've got something going. They have definitely got something going. Jaguars, again, all those draft picks. Defense, really good. Offense, on paper, should be good. And for whatever reason, it's a fucking shit show again. They got a decent head coach. A Super Bowl winning head coach.
Right.
And I like you, Scott. Why aren't they good? They should be good. They should be a lot better than they are.
Yeah.
And they're not. And I can't trust them to beat the Giants. I really can't. So yeah, I've got to go. I've got to go with the G-men. I just can't see the Jet. This is a winnable game for them, but I just can't see them doing it. That's the problem.
You know what's really funny is all this talk in the offseason about how the AFC West was going to be the greatest division in the history of the NFL with Russell Wilson and Derek Carr and Justin Herbert and Patrick Mahomes. And here it is. The NFC East is by far the best division so far.
This season,
we really are.
It is not the NFC least for at least one season.
It just goes to show you, no matter how much you think you know, you never know as much as you think you know.
No, exactly.
We've stepped into a fucking different time war. We have with the NFC East being the best division in the fucking football right now. Shit.
Next game, Old Father Time versus Time is catching up with him, aka Colts at the Titans. 3-2-1. Bloody hell. The Colts have got a winning record. I mean, that tells you we're in a parallel fucking universe with my boy Matty Ice, who's now more Matty Fry. 3 games, and they've got the tie as well, obviously, against the Titans, who is Derrick Henry has warmed up a bit earlier than normal, because normally it's mid-November, and then all of a sudden it's the Derrick Henry show. This is probably one of the, I can't call this a shit bowl because it's not really bad. But out of the early slate, this is probably the worst game to watch as a neutral. But I'm going with the Titans. Carl?
This is a real tough one. Really tough one. Jonathan Taylor and Naheem Hines are back for the Colts, so their running game will be better. But Matt Ryan looked really, really good last week. Really good.
No pressure, though. He was actually allowed to throw the ball.
Yeah, and the Titans front four does get pressure. Yeah, I'm going to take the Titans, but I'm not confident in this pick. But I'll take the Titans.
Paul?
Titans. The Colts are dreadful.
Scott?
How have the Colts won a single game this year? The Chiefs gave them a game. They beat the Broncos on a game that you're going to see ads late at night, like I said last week, on these legal these injury attorney commercials. Did you watch Colts Broncos Thursday Night Football? You may be eligible for financial compensations. Like they won that game, and then the game last week. Matt Ryan, that pass he threw at the end of the game, where he just, that's like if you ever played 500 out in the backyard, where you just throw the ball up in the air and call a number, and a group of people just try to catch it in a scrum, and it's a freaking touchdown. And then how in the fuck have they won a single game this year? It's unbelievable.
I'll tell you. Sorry, go on, Scott.
Oh no, yeah, I'm picking the Titans. The Colts. At some point, the Colts are going to lose like 8, 9, 10 games in a row. I'm telling you.
It's funny you mention like American commercials, and you do see those. And that's one reason I will never give up my Game Pass or NFL Plus subscription over here, because I love American TV adverts. I just love them. Forget the Applebee's 2 for Tuesday and all that. Use hydroxamol if you've got, I don't know, gout or whatever it is. And then they go, not to be used if you want serious heart conditions, if you can't breathe, if you can't do this, if you can't do that, will cause all these side effects. Please speak to your doctor. And I'm like, way to sell that drug. You know, it's a miracle cure when they're all going round the park, and, you know, the old boy who has had a heart attack, he's now skipping around the park with his wife and the dog's running round. And then they do the health bit at the end. Do not take this if. And there's like more wrong things than there is right. And I just love it. I love it. I love it.
I saw one the other day for chronic dry eyes, and it says, "Do not take if you already taken this medication, or this medication." It says a rare form of lymphoma has been noted, and I'm like, so your eyes aren't dry anymore, but you've got cancer.
Exactly. Brilliant. Well done.
Right, can we go back on topic now, Scott? What did you choose? Did you choose the Colts or the Titans?
Titans.
The
You chose
Titans.
the Titans. Okay, fair enough.
Clean sweep. Clean sweep. Now, will the Packers lose 3 in a row? That would be just delicious. I can't ignore my glee if the Packers lost 3 in a row, because that would just... I would get quite excited, and I would probably have a heart attack from laughing so much. Unfortunately, I can't see it, but it would be hilarious if Carson the Chocotron 6000 beat them. But I'm not picking. I can't pick the Commanders. Although their defense was a bit frisky last week, showed a bit of promise. But no, I'm going to. Unfortunately, I've got to pick the Packers. But if by some quirk of a different generation or something happens, and we all go into a parallel universe, and the Commanders win, I will just put a video of me laughing for 30 seconds. Carl.
If the Packers lose this game, start hitting that panic button. Start hitting that panic button, because this team is not looking good right now. Carson Wentz is not playing. He is out injured. So in comes Taylor Heineke.
No.
But for the love of me, I can't pick the Washington Command, those shit bags. So
even without the Chocotron 6000, it's an upgrade to Heineke, but I still can't pick him. But I'd love to, but I can't. Paul?
Nah.
Packers for me. I can't see the Commanders beating the Packers. Simple as that.
Scott?
You can't call Carson Wentz the Chocotron 6000, because in order to be a Chocotron, you have to be good at some point and then choke it away. He's the Suckatron 6000.
Suckatron. I like that.
Nick.
We'll have to use that. The Suckatron 5000.
Hey, I did get a win though. I picked the Commanders against the Bears last week.
Oh wow, that's not exactly something to write home about, is it?
I got a win.
Wow, man!
Picking the Commanders last week against the Bears. So, there's no way I'm picking Washington.
Yeah, you're not exactly a guru picking that, are you? Let's be fair.
Green Bay.
Okay. Now,
Green Bay. No, didn't pretend to be.
Russell Wilson is on the injury report. Why is he on the injury report? Because he fucking sucks.
You're standing there, you're screwing me, and you're fucking useless.
Russie Wussy. His goose is cooked. I love it. I absolutely love it, as Kevin Keegan once said in English soccer. Jets, Broncos. I'm riding that train. Jets, Jets. To go into the Mile High. That defense was looking good. The MILF hunter was hunting. Unfortunately, there weren't any MILFs, but he was hunting. Jets. Carl?
Oh, you're making me do this, are you? Oh, fucking hell.
Hang on, Carl. I'll just get the camera ready to record. What's this going on?
He'll never pick against a team that's in the same seaboard.
And I also can't pick a team that's just absolute dross right now. I just can't.
Just lone wolf it and take one for the team, man. You know you don't want to pick the Jets.
No, I can't. I can't. Oh. I will use my lifeline. Give me the Jets.
I'm really disappointed because I thought we were going to have a let's ride. Paul.
Jets all day long. The Broncos, like Scott has said, have been awful. I did buy into the hype at the start of the year. Scott, a couple of Broncos fans came after me on Twitter. They've gone very quiet recently. I'm not quite sure if they've got any problems with their internet connection, but yeah, it's Jets all day for me, Nick.
Now, I know Scott is going to make it. Oh, he's gone.
Oh,
He would have
killed him off.
made it.
He probably lost
He
his
would
signal.
have made, but he'll be back. So we'll
be
come
back.
back to him on that one. I've got a feeling if Scott comes back, this next one won't be a lone wolf for me. Because again, it's one of the teams that I just cannot pick. Texans at the Faders. I'm not ever picking the Raiders. Texans. Carl.
Taking Raiders. I don't trust the Texans.
Fucking hell, Brighton have just scored. Holy shit. Sorry. Carry on. What?
Yeah, I'm taking the Raiders. I don't trust the Texans.
What
Yeah,
a
I'm not-
goal. Sorry.
I'm not as on the same page of hatred as you are there, Nick. I can't see the Texans winning this one, so I'm going with the Raiders.
Sorry, I'm still in shock that Brighton actually scored against Man City. That's thrown me a bit, that has. Okay, so I'll have to save the lone wolves up because if Scott doesn't come back, then I'll lone wolf what I need to lone wolf. Seahawks at Chargers. Again, I'll just say Chargers because I'm not picking them fucking lame sea chickens.
Yeah, I'll make it quick before you hand over to Carl. I hate the Seahawks more than any other team in the NFL, so I'll never ever pick a Seahawks, Nick. So I'm Chargers as well. So that might help make Carl's mind up.
Well, he's never picking the Seahawks he cannot pick the Seahawks against the Chargers.
Nah, even though the Chargers were not that great against Denver on Monday Night Football, their offense is still better, and I think their defense is still better. So I'll take Chargers.
How the fuck did this game make Monday Night Football? Steelers at Dolphins.
Sunday Night Football, you mean?
Sorry,
Not Monday night.
It's because it's 1 a.m.
Mind you, the Monday Night Football game ain't much fucking better. Let's be fair.
That's true.
Steelers, Dolphins.
Yeah, Dolphins for me as well. To be fair, Nick. He's back. He's back.
He's back. He had to just nip in quickly and turn on the milkshake machine, obviously. CG, good afternoon. How you doing? Carl?
Tua's back. That offense is going to kick into gear at long last. So taking the Dolphins.
Okay. Now, we've got a couple where you jumped out to switch on the milkshake machine or fill up the ice machine. I'm not sure which one it was. Texans, Raiders, Scott.
Jesus Christ.
We're all waiting with bated breath.
Texans are just fucking garbage.
I can't believe you're going to pick the Raiders.
I don't have any other choice. I've got to catch Cole here. He's got like a 3 or 4 game lead on me, I think.
It's terrible.
3-point lead.
Chickens at Chargers. Scott.
Chargers.
There you go. So.
Oh, okay, fair enough. What about the Jets and the Broncos? Because we missed you when you cut off.
Are you riding Are you
Huh?
Let's Riding
Oh.
or are you going JETS?
I didn't know old age was on the injury report for Russell Wilson now. He's questionable with
Ow!
Questionable for being garbage.
questionable with arthritis and gray hair.
Luckily, he can take cadroxamol as long as he doesn't want cancer of the liver, bad headaches, double vision. He'll be fine. Oh, mate, that's what the Jets defense is going to do to him. Steelers, Dolphins, Scott.
The Dolphins.
I think we've all agreed on the Dolphins, have we?
Mm-hmm.
No one's picking.
Tua's back, right?
Yeah, I think Tua's back. Yeah.
Tyreek Hill's on pace to set the single season receiving yards record, even though the Chiefs didn't really need him that much, and he was going to fall off the map without Patrick Mahomes throwing the football to him.
It's all right. He's got old lefty thrown to him. Don't worry about that. Russell Wilson fell off his Bronco. And then he got up and shouted, "Let's ride." Fucking idiot. 2 more games to go.
The Broncos, I was looking at Russell Wilson's cap number for the next 3 years and how many draft picks they gave up for that guy. That franchise is, and they're fucked.
Yeah, but that's Horseface as GM. Let's be honest.
I love it. I'm not complaining.
He had the chance, right, to redeem himself, and he got bum-ass Russell Wilson, who's not winning shit.
And not only did he
get a future Hall of Famer to fucking play properly, for fuck's sake.
Well, and not only did they trade for him and give up all those draft picks, they could have waited a year to see how he played before giving him all that money. He was under contract for another 2 years.
I love it. I do.
The people that bought the Broncos got to be asking for their money back right now. Can you return or exchange an NFL franchise like you do? That jacket you bought at the store that you thought you liked, and then you got home and you realized it didn't look that good.
Yeah, wore it for a couple of times in the first month and just thought, nah, fuck this shit. I can't wear this bullshit. Take it back. Go down to Walmart, take it back. Bears, Patriots. Now,
is this the easiest game ever to pick?
I just cannot pick the Bears. I can't.
No.
As much as I want to piss Carl off, I just can't pick the Bears. I can't. I can find no reason to wind up Carl to say that the Bears have got any fucking chance of winning this. Anyone in this room, in the chat, wherever, tell me that the Bears can beat the Patriots. Anybody? Anyone? No? In the chat, wherever. Pity we haven't got a tumbleweed video because I think that's what happened. Honestly.
Justin Fields' mom is picking the Patriots in this game. That's how bad it is.
Tell you, there's going to be a lot of people being investigated for illegal betting on this game because I expect half of the Bears team are actually voting against themselves.
I will not be staying up till 1:15 a.m. on Tuesday morning for this one, Carl. I will look forward to seeing your tweets when I wake up at 8:30, fully refreshed, and that highlight video isn't very long.
Do you know? Yeah. Do you know what? I'm so toying with setting my alarm for 1 o'clock in the morning to get up and watch that. Am I fuck? You couldn't fucking pay me to get up and watch that shit show. Now, the main event of tomorrow. Look, he's smiling. Look. My and Paul's San Francisco 49ers coming off of a shitty loss to the piped in crowd noise motherfuckers versus it was everyone's fault, the refs, the defense, we had players we had not playing, and everything else that could go against us would. We lost, take the L, Chiefs fans, versus the Chiefs at Santa Clara, aka the Bell Bottom Stadium. Now, I'm going to go to Cole first, because he is the neutral here. And there could be some tactical voting. There could be some reverse psychology voting. Who knows? Carl, the choke holders at the most easy friend in the NFL. Choose.
Depending what your injury list is going to be like for the 49ers on the defensive side of the ball, there is still a possibility that Run CMC may not be available for tomorrow's game. Apparently, Kyle Shanahan said his decision is up in the air at this moment in time. So that's something to keep an eye on as the day progresses tomorrow. If Nick Bosa is back, you get pressure. Charvarius Ward is questionable at the minute, so it's very hard to work out there. I just look at the Chiefs last week when they lost to the Bills.
Sorry,
and the fact
Chiefs
that
last week. Sorry, Carl. Can you just did the Chiefs lose last week?
Well, apparently so.
I didn't know that. Fucking hell.
But here's the kicker in that. Andy Reid's record when coming off a loss, whether he has been at the Eagles, whether he's been at the Chiefs, I don't know what the actual record is, but it is absolutely ridiculous when he comes off a loss. I think the Chiefs, both offenses, have got explosive weapons. But in this game, I have to decide which quarterback do I trust more. And I trust Mahomes more than Jimmy G. The downfield threat that Mahomes will have, that'll be the part of the game that I think will get the job done. So for me, I am taking Kansas City to beat the 49ers.
Paul?
Well, before I start, Scott, I caught your Chiefs Kingdom live the next day, watched it back. I have to say, I thought you three spoke very well about the reasons the Chiefs lost the game. It was great to see John V on there. Despite the CMC news, I'm still on the same page as John V. I called for a Chiefs win on the 49er Faithful UK pod. Too many injuries. Mahomes is Mahomes. As much as I'd love to stay here and wind you up and join in with Nick, I think the Chiefs win this one on Sunday. And I just wanted to throw that out there that I'd caught you Chiefs Kingdom live. And to be fair, I quite enjoyed it as a neutral.
Cool. Yeah, I appreciate you watching, Paul. Thanks, man.
That's very good.
It's always fun
I had
talking to
one
John.
viewer throughout, and that was you, Paul. Well done. I'm only joking. I'm only joking.
No, I've got like 12 or 13 phones set up around my house that I have it turned on so that we can get some viewers. But so here's the deal. I'm in a predicament here because every time I pick against the 49ers, they win. And every time I pick them, they lose. So I don't really know what to do here. I just think you guys are too beat up, man. And you asked me what I thought about Christian McCaffrey. This, to me, seems like one of those deals where it seems like too much of a slam dunk to work. Like, Christian McCaffrey should run for 3,000 yards rushing with the 49ers. But how many times have you seen where, like, this sure thing, can't miss move ends up just being really underwhelming? I don't know. There's no way he doesn't play this weekend either. He's going to play. Okay, it's Christian McCaffrey. He's going to play. You guys are getting Nick Bosa back. Of course, you'll start getting some of these guys back just in time to play us. That's always the way that goes. But, yeah, your secondary's banged up. And with Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs offense, I mean, they just took the Bills to the wire. So I got to pick my Chiefs. I can't bring myself to pick against my Chiefs, even though I feel like maybe I'm jinxing them a little bit by picking them.
Yeah, I agree with you, Scott. I think we are too beat up on defense at the moment, and offensively, we're not great at the moment. I did use some of your wisdom when I was doing the 49er Faithful UK, and they're like, how do you know so much about the Chiefs? And I was like, well, I've got a good friend who's a Chiefs fan. And funnily enough, I've just watched their show, and they talked about stuff. So, I mean, for us to have a chance, we have to attack your secondary. Jimmy G has to have 0 interceptions, and the defense has to play lights out. So
I'm bringing in as many 49er fans as I can to try and gang up.
Amen.
Lawrence, how are you, bro?
How are you? I'm good. Kermit. I'm good, Nick. How you been, brother?
That's the plan.
Hello to the panel. Carl Paul, Mr. Smug.
Good.
I heard Mr. Smug.
Good
Sir,
to see you, Lord.
I heard you just saying. Good to see all of you again. Yes, it's been a minute. I heard you just saying that we don't. Before I got on, it's going to be You think we're going to have an underwhelming move with CMC? You think it's going to be underwhelming? I know that happens a lot in the league. You think so, or do you want that to happen?
No, I don't know. Just like I said, you've seen it. Like, how many times have you seen it where
A lot.
a player goes to another team, or like last year when the Browns, when Nick Chubb got hurt, you saw Kareem Hunt's gonna fucking dominate, and he was okay. I don't know. I've seen it a lot where I have such lofty expectations, and every reason would point, or all logic would point to it just being a slam dunk move. And then for whatever reason, it's not as good as everybody expected it to be. I mean, I'm not predicting that, but I could see that happening. Christian McCaffrey, he can stay healthy. That's that dude's whole deal. I put a tweet out. I said, a team that can run the ball with anybody at running back who is injury plagued goes out and gets a running back with an injury history. To me, like, that just seemed. I mean, you needed another guy on the injury report every week. I don't know. I'm not predicting he's going to suck, but I don't know that it's going to be this slam dunk MVP.
Right.
He's going to be some MVP candidate now moving forward. So, I mean, if they're just going to give the ball to him every play like Carolina did,
when I dropped a video on it, actually, I can say that
it is a tough one. Willie, I don't think he's going to make an impact on this game. Going forward next week.
Well, thank you for the cheer, first of all, again.
No problem. Yeah, to me, and I said earlier, I don't know if you heard, I'd rather have got Brian Burns, personally. All I'm doing is basically
I didn't hear, brother.
The injury record. Okay, so yes, he's an explosive player. Yes, he can be good, but he's got to stay healthy. And we're the most injured team in the NFL. And that worries me with someone who's, everyone calls George Kittle. Well, sorry, not everyone. Scott calls him George Brittle. And we're now taking a running back. What was the stat, Carl? Sorry, how many games has he missed again, did you say?
He's missed 23 of his last 33 in the space of 2 seasons.
That's worrying to me, Lawrence.
Now, to be fair, right? Yeah, but it's all been sprains. I just saw the stat yesterday. It's kind of been, I think, overblown. He's missed big amounts of time, but he's had 5 injuries over that time frame. He had an ankle sprain, a knee sprain, a thigh sprain, ACL. No major injuries. He when did he tore his ACL in the league over these 2 years?
I'm pretty sure, yeah. That's a real significant.
I just saw yesterday. It just said like all 6 of his. He had like 6 injuries over that time frame. The 23-33 game thing that was for the last 24 hours, big time. He's only played 23 of his last 33 that he should have been available for. And
Thing
it
is,
said
Lawrence,
that
we are the king
it
of the
kind of broke down
sprain.
every injury. Yeah, we are the kings of the sprains, though. So he's going to miss time. It was minor injuries. Excuse me,
Okay,
but
so,
we
right, so
are the
this is like-
kings of sprains.
Right, okay, so this is his injury history. I've just brought it up here. So in October 8th, 2016, he had a hip pull injury, so he missed game, but that was obviously when he was in college against Notre Dame. In the NFL, he had a pedal ankle high sprain grade 3. And that was in the week 2, lost to the Buccaneers in 2020. He had a shoulder AC joint sprain in November 8th of 2020, a thigh glute strain in December 9th, 2020, a thigh hamstring strain grade 2 in September 23rd, 2021, and a pedal ankle sprain grade 2 in the NFL in November 28th, 2021. So that is his injury history. So
to me, that's
about 5 injuries, and they've literally all been sprains.
Right, but I mean,
That's what I'm starting to think is why the sprains, the consistent body sprains. You know, why does that happen to him?
To me, that's worse though. He gets injured a lot. Rather than missing a bunch of games with one major injury, the guy's hurt all the time. That to me, like, is more worrisome. I would, if the guy had a torn ACL, missed a bunch of games, but other than that had been healthy, that to me would be less worrying than a guy who is getting other injuries more frequently.
I mean, I'm guessing as well that is kind of his
I agree.
running style that he gets these sprains. So,
and on top of that,
thank you, Nate.
I think a lot of that is
I agree
of him because the Carolina Panthers used him nonstop. Like he was their whole offense for what, 3 years? 4 years?
Ooh,
4 years, yeah.
300 carries a season. Yeah, no.
Right. So, but if you're the 49ers,
you won't get that here.
Okay, well then, why would you trade a bunch for a guy that you can't use a lot?
He'll probably get
2
carries. It won't work, and then he'll use him in the passing game. I don't.
When they use a lot in the passing game in Carolina. Yeah, it's kind of an odd thing to me that you would give up what you gave up for a guy that is either A, hurt a lot, or B, you can't use as much because of the injury history.
It's going to be interesting.
He's going to be a good player.
It's going to be interesting to see where he fits in a couple of weeks. I don't think. Well, we might. It wouldn't surprise me if it was, I don't know, 1st and goal on the 8-yard line. They bring CMC in for one play and he scores. That would not surprise me in the slightest. And that's all he does the whole game. It wouldn't surprise me.
What? Just goal line? Just got red zone?
Just one play. Doesn't matter where it is. Just bring him in.
Tomorrow?
Green it or do something to just get his feet wet, score a touchdown, becomes an instant hero in the Bay, even though he was with Stanford and probably a hero with them anyway. But what's your prediction, Lawrence? Has Lawrence frozen?
Building the suspense nicely.
He is.
My prediction?
Yes. Well, sorry, you froze. Yeah. What's your prediction, Lawrence?
Everybody's coming back. I think I am frozen. I think I am frozen.
We can hear you. If you can hear me, we can hear you.
I'm frozen. My opinion is pain for Kansas City. That's what I see coming. Everyone that's coming back on our team. I hope you can hear me right now.
Yeah, we've got you.
You can? Okay. If you can, again, I think everyone's coming back. I think CMC gave the team.
So, Scott, when you're recording Chiefs Kingdom live, and if you do win as easily as you think you're going to win, just remember this show, and it was Shank Club that was giving you all the verbals about the Bills and all the rest.
Yeah, but I already know if the Niners lay an egg, and I will deserve all of what I get.
I'm looking forward to the game. I think it should be a good game.
But
I mean, I'm not predicting a blowout. necessarily. I mean, I think on my show, I picked like 27-17, something like that.
That's what you went with, yeah.
10 points, 10 to 13 points.
Though one of your co-hosts was dying to throw the Super Bowl score in. I seen the look on his face, and I knew you didn't take that opportunity.
Well,
I can't. I want to put some reverse psychology in, obviously. I want to, but I can't. I can't.
Same way, Nick.
I can't pick against the Niners. I'm a die-hard Niner fan. I'm not saying Paul isn't, but I just cannot. I can't go against my own team. My head says this could be a potential blowout. My heart says Jimmy G, CMC, Ayuk, the defense back up to almost full speed. Stop Kermit. Put 20 defensive players on Travis Kelce somehow. And we are going to, I don't know how. I mean, up until we laid an egg in the Super Bowl, we were beating them, right? And we were beating them easily. And they were choke holding, summer slamming. And I know Lawrence is a big WWE fan, but they were doing some WWE type shit on Nick Bosa and the rest of that line to stop them getting to Kermit. Now, if the refs actually take their blinkers off, they might actually see some of that shit that's going on. And we might actually get some holding calls, etc. Or unsportsmanlike conduct or just shithousery against the Kansas City Chiefs line. So I am going for a 49ers win. I know it's probably not going to happen, but I just can't. I can't pick. I cannot go against my team.
Well, I've stayed consistent because I've put it out there on Thursday night. So people who have listened to both, I couldn't just stay away from it, even with the CMC news. But I'm going for the reverse psychology, Nick. I called for a Niners loss against the Rams Monday night last year, and that catapulted our season. So that's what I'm going for, Scott.
Let's hope that's the case.
I can see it getting out of hand. That's my only thing. And I was really impressed with the way we come back against the Falcons being 14-zip down. I didn't think we had that in us. So there's always that just a little sliver of hope. And yes, I know it's Mahomes and all the rest of it. I get that. But you gotta believe. And I believe. Maybe it's blind faith, but I do believe that somehow, some way, if it's a low-scoring game and it isn't a shootout, we do have a shot any given Sunday. Best game of the week, I think. And hopefully we'll inflict the second L in a row on the Chiefs. That would be nice, wouldn't it, Scott? Your lot losing 2 in a row would be delicious.
Don't bet your rent on it.
I might take the Niners to cover the spread, which I'm guessing is going to be +6.
3.
Is it only
right
3?
now.
3.
3 or 3.5.
It's only 3.5.
That's mad.
Because we're at home and we are a good team. So yes, they're a great team, but I think people, the media as well, and hell, it may change now that we, overnight the spread if CMC plays, or Kyle's not going to say that for sure until we see 23 walk on the field. But we are a good team. I think we got a little bit more respect than maybe we've shown by our record, and it's a home game for us. So I think that's why 3 points. You usually get 3 at home, so it's really 6. You usually get 3 at home. So really, it's a 6-point there. If we
the weird thing, right? I put a bet on the 49ers to win the Super Bowl, right, at 14-1 before the season started. they're sitting at 3-3, and I don't know in America if when you place bets on sports books, you probably don't have it, but there's a cash out option, right? The guys who bet in the UK know what I'm talking about. When they lost to the Falcons, the cash out was a lot less than my stake. So I put £5 on it, and it went down to like £1.30. We signed CMC, and it's now £6.50.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
I don't get that. Now, one player can just.
Yes.
It's mad.
Because
I thought I'll just have a look at what the cash out is, and it literally has gone up by over £5 just by signing him. So,
fellas, I got to jump out. Soccer game 2 is ready to start.
Sorry, you've got to go and switch off the McFlurry machine and put on the cheeseburgers. Did you say?
Yeah, the drive-through is backed up, so I gotta get back in there.
Nice one, Scott. I will be. I'll be looking for you. Don't worry. Either way, you know I'm not going to hide.
Yeah, no, it's all good. I'm looking forward to it. It'll be fun. We'll trash talk either way, and whichever way it goes, that's half the fun, right? So
exactly. Well, thanks for joining, Scott. Appreciate you. Let everyone know where they can find you, what your podcast is, and we'll let you get back to the soccer / drive-through.
Yeah, you can just find me at all the social media platforms. Chiefs Kingdom Live is the name of the show. If you're like Paul and you want to get some info and have something to tell your buddies, if you're playing us the following week, even if you're not a Chiefs fan, check it out. You never know. We just do it. Like I said, it's a lot of fun. Have a good time. Good to see you, fellas. Y'all be well. Y'all be safe. Take care. Paul, good to see you, man. Good to see you down there as well. You guys take it easy.
Oh, and Scott, we will be at the normal time next week, so no excuses. Get the drive-through up and running before you sneak out.
I've already got scheduled off for the day, and this is the final weekend of the Smithville age 3 and age 6 soccer league that's going on right now. So I will be there.
Okay, man. Take it easy. Have a good week, Scott. See you next week.
See y'all. Take it easy.
And there he goes, back to get the McFlurry machine fired up, get the cups in all the right places. Bless him. Lawrence, what were your thoughts on the game, the Niners game, just very quickly last week, going down so quick, and then obviously things changed, etc. What were your thoughts? And I know you're not a Jimmy G fan, so
you do know that. I know that you are. But I still love you. It's no problem. So my thoughts were they started too fast on us. The turnover by Jeff Wilson, and hopefully we have someone right now that can take care of that going forward. Turnover by Jeff Wilson was a crusher. I mean, it was a return for a touchdown. You don't even see that, that often against us. Fumbles returned for touchdowns, but it happened. They moved down the field on us in that opening drive. I'm not sure how that happened. I was actually late to the game, so I kind of missed the majority of that opening drive. They just caught us, I think, on the right night, or the right morning. That is, it was a 10 a.m. I think there was a lot of factors. It was a 10 a.m. start. The 2 weeks away thing didn't work this time. It was an early game, on another coast, and then Kyle, towards the end of the game, as we got behind, that fourth quarter, I believe, I started to believe in that fourth quarter that he was purposefully trying to run the game out as opposed to trying to win the game. Primarily, well, really for two reasons. One, because we had been, so injured throughout that game. I think we had 3 injuries in that game, 2 fairly prominent players. And then 2, unfortunately, our man James, I don't think that Kyle had the trust in him to throw us back in that game down 14 in the fourth. Even whether he can or not, Nick, I don't think that Kyle, and he doesn't trust anyone. I think Kyle's biggest issue.
The issue I have with that, Lawrence, is he will go away from something if it's working. So if
I
the
don't
run
understand.
game's working,
I
he
don't understand.
shies away from it. If Jimmy is doing his little dump off passes and we're getting yak, he'll then go back to the run game, and the run game sucks. The defense get gassed, injured, etc., etc. And I don't understand it.
I don't either. That's one of my biggest
It
issues
is
with him.
frustrating. I mean, I do give, and I said it earlier, I give Jimmy a pass for the first interception. It didn't mean anything. It was
It didn't.
at the end of the first half. It doesn't matter. But the set we were saying earlier, that second one was just a complete joke. Throwing it into triple.
It was triple coverage again.
It was. I mean, even I was throwing my hands up at that, and I couldn't believe it.
I'm glad. Look, it's like the third or fourth time he's thrown into triple coverage this season.
But the thing is, if he makes that throw,
if he makes it, hallelujah. But if, oh my God.
But he did make some dimes.
I love you, James.
And we had
nickels. Nickels.
Dimes. They weren't.
We have some drops.
They were good throw. And they got so come on, let's be fair to my boy Jimmy G. They were good throws, catchable balls.
The one to Warner was horrible by Warner. That was a perfect pass. It hit Warner in the face mask. He had his hands there, and it hit him like right in his face mask, like the movie Necessary Roughness. Okay, and he dropped.
Open your fucking eyes. It's simple.
Open
Don't
your
close
eyes.
your eyes when the ball's coming.
Yeah, when the ball's coming, close your eyes. The one time you in the corner of the sideline, beautiful. But then Brindle messed it up, so it didn't count.
But the thing is, you look at some of those and you think, yeah, Jimmy's limited, but just a few times a game he pulls something out and you just think, just keep pulling it out. Just keep doing it. Just keep doing what you're doing. And then bang, that stupid triple coverage. And you're thinking,
what happened?
How can you not fucking see that? What goes through your head and you don't see it?
This is Brett Favre.
It's just, honestly, and as I said, it's unfortunate that, and we had this conversation, that Trey has gone down. We're stuck with Jimmy. You got to roll with it, good and bad. We've got no choice unless Jimmy goes down, and then we're down to the bare minimum.
We're in hell. Nick, I wouldn't. I'll be 100% honest and fair to the man. I would not want anyone else quarterback in our team that would be available right now, other than James. I would know. There's no one else in the league anywhere that I would prefer to have quarterbacking other than Trey, than James. So I don't even feel that we're stuck with him. In my heart, maybe, but I'm glad he's here. I'm very glad he's here. To be honest,
you know, as you say, it could be a lot worse, and
it could be a lot worse.
We just got to roll with it. Just got to roll with it. Yeah. Anyway, we're going to get up out of here very, very shortly. Let's have some final thoughts from you, Carl. In fact, I'll let Paul go first because I know he's got to go. He's got to do some parenting duties. So, Paul. Final thoughts, where can we find you, and all the usual jazz?
Well, first of all, I just wanted to say thank you because Carl mentioned at the start of the show that I've been quite active. So anyone who's following me on social media below will have seen the last 3-4 weeks has been crazy for me at the 49er Faithful UK. However, Nick, you and Carl were the first ones to give me YouTube platform, come on a show. I remember that Thursday night, switching my laptop on, it not working. And I just wanted to say it meant a lot that you and Carl have stuck by me. You've supported me. You've always shared up my content. Obviously, 49er Faithful UK, it is what it says on the tin. We're a 49ers fan group. We love the 49ers. So please do check out our podcast and follow me on Twitter. I am trying to get my following up, Nick. So I'm up at 4,500 on the 49er Faithful UK. Final thought, has been a blast. I know I haven't been around on a Saturday, but I do enjoy catching up with you guys. And Carl, I've seen some of the stuff you've been doing, buddy. So keep it up. It was great to chat about quarterbacks that weren't wearing red and gold. And final thoughts, Nick, I would love the 49ers to beat the Chiefs. I was trying to be a bit realist. You're right. Every fan should be cheering for the team. I will have the TV on at 9:25 in the UK, and I will be fully behind our team. And it would do nothing better to see CMC running 5 touchdowns, Jimmy Garoppolo throw 5 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. But I just wanted to say thank you guys for having me on. I really appreciate it.
No problem, Paul. Glad to have you along. And I don't know what you've been drinking, but if you think JG's throwing 5 touchdowns without any interceptions, you're either smoking something or you've got treble vodkas in that glass, bro. But yes, been great to have you along. Glad it's all going well with 49er Faithful UK. And yeah, good to see you. Don't be a stranger. I'll always send you the link. Just let us know if you can hop on. And yeah, all good. Go and be a father.
Yeah, I've got 3 girls that I've got to go and sort out. So thank you very much. And Kyle, good to see you as always, buddy. And Lawrence, don't be a stranger, buddy. And I'll catch you later.
Absolutely, sir. Good to see you, man.
See you soon, Paul. See you soon.
Be safe.
Carl, I forgot to ask our usual segment we have. What am I falling asleep to tonight?
The 2 Okay, so the early college game, which kicks off in about 7 minutes, actually. You've got Syracuse at Clemson, and then at 8:30 you've got Ole Miss at LSU.
So out of the 2, which has got the biggest snooze factor?
I'll probably say the first one.
Right. So I'll forget the first one and I'll fall asleep to the second one. That's good. Right, Carl, let everyone know where they can find you and any final thoughts.
Okay, so you can find me on Twitter at KBSports31. You can also find me on my YouTube channel, which is KB Sports. So I run a lot of the New England Patriots content and, of course, Arsenal FC. I do a lot of guest hosting as well for other channels as well. So the Sports Capital, I do a lot of Premier League and NFL, and I'm now the host of their new NFL channel as well. You can also find me on the Patriots Touchback podcast, which is that little logo up there. We just recently had our review of the Browns game and previewed the Bears game as well. And also, actually, talking of which, later on tonight at 7:30, I will be on the Sports Capital because I have been asked to host the full-time phone-in for all the Premier League games that have happened today. So if you're a Liverpool fan and you want to blow some steam off after your loss to Forest, then give us a call. We have our link in on Twitter that Munsey has put on there for. So make sure you go check that out. That's at 7:30 this time as well. So that's where you can find me.
Awesome. Lawrence, let everyone know where they can find you, what your YouTube channel is. How's that going, by the way? Because I know you do a lot of 49er content. I do see you slipping up with some wrestling content as well, etc. How's it all going over there? Let everyone know where they can find you.
Thank you, Nick. Sincerely, again, I'm glad I woke up today, first of all, and got to open up my email and see that you sent me the link. So I appreciate it to you. Carl, good to see you again, too. Great content creator. I've actually checked out your channel outside of this, just on this side every once in a while. And then, of course, I don't have anything against the Patriots, so salute to you. And everybody in the comments, hello, what's up? What's going on? What's happening? Faithful. Hopefully we get it this weekend. And even I know there's some Chiefs fans here or maybe some other fans. So hello to everyone in the comments. I just appreciate the chair. Good to talk football with you. Good to see you again, Nick. And as far as my channel, folks, you can find me right here on YouTube platform 246. Please follow me on Twitter as well at BamBamLOD. And as far as how it's going, Nick, it's going. We're building, myself and my sons, every day. One thing I will say is people unsubscribe a lot. Every few days, there's one person. There's literally one person. I wake up and one person unsubscribe from my channel, and I'm just
now you know what I have to go through. It's a slow growing process. I wake up every day. Oh, there's one subscriber. It's not like it blows up as like there's 50 on the subscriber or 60 on the next day.
But you know what? I don't get.
It takes time. It really does take time. You need to be patient about the situation. If something doesn't work, you may need to change it. That's exactly what I have to do with my channel.
This for over 2 years, and I'm a bit like, chalk and cheese. You either like me or you don't. But I've been stuck on 175 followers for at least a year, and that doesn't bother me. I don't care because, as everyone knows who's followed us from the start, I don't care what people think. I don't care about followers.
Right.
I do care about followers, and the people that follow me, they know, But I don't want to get 1,000 to be monetized and all that jazz, because it's not that's not for me. And all these people that have thousands of followers, that's fine. But it kind of makes you wonder how they got that amount of followers. I could buy followers. I could quite easily buy followers. Thank you, Laney, for coming in. Appreciate you. No, let's not go, Chiefs. I'm not going there.
I can't read that either.
I can't. Yeah, that's just not me. I'm not bothered. If I get 50 views on a video after it's been posted, that's fine. I'm really happy with that. I'm not bothered, and I'll never be one of these people. Like, I've got into TikTok a bit, and I see some of these people that have got 3 million followers, and all they're posting is absolute bullshit.
It's the same here.
Think, why the fuck are these clowns getting all these people? Because it's just the same old crap.
They're not talented,
Ridiculous.
really. Not charismatic. There's a lot of, and I no disrespect, not to go there. If you mean me, Brian, it's Bam Bam LLD. BAM LLD. Shout out to Brian. He said what's up to me, and definitely.
Indeed, Bryant's been in the comments. Laney has.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mahomie the Goat came in. Panama Queen came in. CG Ruthless popped up. So yes, everyone that came in the chat. Tony from Locker Room Rant popped up earlier. So yes, thank you everyone for coming in. As I say, we may not be your cup of tea, as we say over here in England, but we do what we do, and we ain't fucking changing. So thank you very much, everyone, for watching. Everything is crossed that the Niners somehow
get this
at
win.
least give me a week where I absolutely just give it to Scott and all the rest of you Kansas City Chiefs fans. But I'm not going to hold my breath because I might go blue and die. So we'll see.
Are you going to watch the game live?
I am going to be watching the game live, yes. 9:25 tomorrow night. It will finish about 12:30 midnight.
Yeah, wow.
So
well, I'll be live.
Nick,
if
you
get
a late night, and I'm either going to be ecstatic or pissed.
One of the two. When you go to bed, you're going to be one of the two, either ecstatic or pissed. But I'll be live too on my channel on platform 246 during the game. So if you get a chance, Nick, if your phone's free or your computer, whichever, maybe you can hop in the comments or jump on my channel. I'll have the link there. You can come on live. I stream during the games, live. So
I might come on early.
Yeah.
Just to come on for 5 minutes and then go away because I've thrown my phone and laptop against the wall. But
I'll admit it. I understand. I would appreciate it.
We'll see. All right. Thanks everyone for joining. Thanks for all the comments. This has been the Shank Club NFL. I'm your boy Nick. You've had Carl. You've had Lawrence. You've had Mr. McDonald's. You've had Paul Hope, 49 UK faithful. It's been a great show. Thanks for everyone for joining. Stay safe. We will be back same time next week. Take care, everyone. We'll see you soon. Peace out.